Hello and welcome back to another video. We are going to be testing a new supply today. So I know I'm a little bit late on the train with this one. I know every single YouTuber ever has used these HIMI gouaches before. They're the jelly gouache. However, I've just received them for my birthday and I couldn't really justify buying them before now. I've got plenty of gouache supplies and other paint supplies, and I thought I just won't buy them. So then I did receive them for my birthday, so I thought let's test them, let's do a little colour chart. I have some Langton watercolour paper, and I'm thinking of doing a bit of a colour chart like this. It'll help out for another upcoming video which you should see shortly, that you'll see why I want to create more in-depth colour charts, so this will help me and get ahead of the game for that one. But I thought let's test them, let's do some colour charts and some swatching and see what other colours we can make from them, and then create a little piece of artwork at the end and see how they fare compared to all my other gouache videos I seem to be doing at the moment. So let's get on with it, let's test these out and see what they're like. First things first, I actually tipped these out and had a look at the colours and just arranged them in what I thought was a really nice colour order. A bit of rainbow, also a bit of a hue order at the same time, kind of running in a zigzag shape, as you can see. I did notice that the actual pots themselves didn't have any sort of name on them. It was just on that opaque white lid. So I actually took those and started to place them on some paper so that I can keep it to one side whilst I do my colour chart, just so then I can write all the names down and then I'll know what they are permanently via that, and I don't have to keep the lids separately. And then went ahead and started to mix these paints up. They did have all the oils settled on top, which is understandable, and they became a really nice creamy consistency, and I was really pleased with how creamy they are. And I am well aware that these dry out just like normal gouache, and they will require activating and remixing occasionally, but for the time being I just wanted to mix those up and see what the colours were. And this is me putting the lids on the paper because they had all the paint on. They just stuck really nicely on there, and I could use it as a reference point when I did my colour charts. So in terms of the colour chart itself, I actually drew this out twice because apparently I can't count, and I drew the chart far too big but with too little cells, and I did have to redraw it, hence the large amount of space, but I did utilise that by writing the full name of the colours, especially since I had to get rid of the lids and I wanted a record of the colours, and I went ahead and wrote them in order of that zigzag shape that I put them in to the case itself. I then used the palette that came with the set, and I just put a little blob of each colour. I thought that was going to work really well, but it actually dried out far quicker than the pots themselves, and so I ended up having to add a lot more water to the mixtures, which, if you've ever done one of these colour charts, there's a lot of variables with them, the amount of water and the amount of colour of each colour that you're mixing. And so, you know, sometimes I might add way more white this time than I would if I was to do this chart again, and therefore the colours are always going to differ. I did try and do like the left side here, as you can see I'm multiplying the colours. I did try and do the left side maybe with more of one pigment and the other side with more of the other pigment, but obviously it is very variable, and having them on the palette and dried out made me add a lot more water, so some of them ended up being more watercolour consistency than maybe acrylic consistency, but again it gives me a good little idea. And as you can see here, there's a vast array of colours, and that's just mixing one colour with another colour, that's not mixing multiple colours. So maybe even creating a little colour wheel would be helpful with this and see what the hues come out as. Very nice. But onto the actual artwork itself and me testing these paints out to do an actual painting. The day I was painting it was actually International Women's Day, and who better to paint on International Women's Day than Wonder Woman herself, a big icon, and I for one love the films, the more recent Wonder Woman films, and I thought she was a great little icon for International Women's Day. So that's who I decided to paint, and these paints are glorious. They are so smooth, they are so silky, the colours are amazing. I did get thrown a few times when I was looking at my colour chart because there's a colour on there called ochre. Now I'm used to yellow ochre with all of my other paints, but obviously this isn't yellow ochre, it's ochre itself, so it's a lot darker, it's a lot more, say, a bit more of a rusty colour, a bit more of a brown. And every time I looked at my chart and I went along the ochre and saw the colour that it had made, I was so confused. So I had to kind of use more of a visual initiative when I was choosing my colours for some of these things, but it worked out in the end. I've gotten the colours that I wanted. A little bit more of a painterly style on this one, and painting people is not really my forte. If you followed me for a while, I'm more of an animal painter, so I've been really pushing myself lately to paint more people. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen I painted Miley Cyrus recently, in gouache as well, not these ones, and I'm really enjoying doing it and pushing myself and doing a little bit more. But it was really fun to try and paint this gold / metallic texture, also painting the lights and the shadows. Obviously a lot of light coming from the left side, and also light shining from where she's hitting her two braces together, so it was really nice to try and capture all that colour, all the shading, the different angles of her arms, and her skin shadowing as well was quite interesting to capture, and also painting a face at this very small scale was really interesting too. So I really enjoyed that, and these paints are beautiful to work with. I can see why a lot of YouTubers rant and rave about it, and I must admit I back up their claims of these paints being very, very nice. They're very juicy, very lovely to work with. Will they replace my Winsor & Newton paints? In as far as colour choice, yes, because I have a bigger range of these jelly gouache. In as far as quality and how they lay down, I would imagine they're just on a par. So if you're looking at doing gouache and you don't want to spend the money on the professional gouache, these HIMI Jelly Gouache are just as good, and I would highly recommend buying them if you want to. So that is the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed my quick review of these HIMI Jelly Gouache. They are very lovely, and thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and happy International Women's Day for the couple of days ago. See you in the next video. Bye bye.